We're going to look at factorisation. A factor is a number or pronumeral that goes into another number or term with no remainders. The highest common factor is the largest factor of all of the terms, so the largest thing that goes into each one of the terms that's in our expression. So to factorise, the first thing that we need to do is identify the highest common factor and write this down. So when looking at this first expression that we have here, which is 5x plus 20, then identifying our highest common factor is looking at what goes into both 5x and into positive 20, and it's actually 5, so we need to write this down. Okay, so that's our first step. Then we need to draw our bracket. Then we need to have a look at the two terms that we've got here and divide our 5 out. So 5x divided by 5 just leaves me with x, and positive 20 divided by 5 gives me 4, because 5 fours are 20 and 5 times x is 5x. So then all we need to do is close our brackets. So we end up with 5 bracket x plus 4 close brackets. And we know how to expand brackets, so we could double check that. 5 times x gives me 5x, and 5 times positive 4 gives me positive 20. So therefore we're checking to make sure that we're correct. Okay, we're going to try the next example now. So example number 2, we are going to do right now. So 8x plus 20y plus 4 is our expression, and we're going to factorise it. So our first step is identify our highest common factor and write it down. So we want to see what goes into both, or into 8x, into positive 20y, and into positive 4. So in all those numbers, 4 is the highest common factor, so we write down 4. Then we have a look, are there no pronumerals that go into all of those terms? So then we just have to draw our bracket. Our next step is actually to divide out our highest common factor out of all of our terms. So 8x divided by 4 leaves me with 2x. Positive 20y divided by 4 gives me positive 5y. And positive 4 divided by 4 gives me positive 1. And then I just need to close my brackets. And I can double check that by thinking what it would look like if I expanded it out. So 4 times 2x gives me 8x, 4 times positive 5y gives me positive 20y, and 4 times 1 gives me positive 4. So therefore I know that that one there is correct. I'm going to look at doing number 3 now. So example 3 is x squared take 30x. So looking at our highest common factor, we can actually see that there aren't any numerical factors, but we can see that x goes into both of our terms. So that is going to be our highest common factor. So we write our x down. So I've got x squared take 30x. That's the only thing that's a common factor within them. So then I need to open my brackets, so I put that in. Then I'm going to go x squared divided by x gives me x, and negative 30x divided by x gives me negative 30. There are no other factors and no other terms, so I can close my brackets. And I can double check this one. X times x is x squared, and then x times negative 30 gives me negative 30x. So that one is done. Looking at number 4, we have 2ab plus ab squared c take 4a squared bc. So again, we need to have a look at what our highest common factor is. So there's no numbers that go into 2, 1 and 4, other than 1, so we don't write that down. So we have a look to see if we've got any pronumerals. So all of them have A in them, so we're going to write our A. And all of them also have B, so I'm going to write my B. Then I need to put my bracket in. Then I need to divide out the AB out of each of the terms. So 2AB divided by AB leaves me with 2. Then I have positive AB squared C. So I go that divided by AB gives me positive BC. Then I look at negative 4A squared BC, dividing out that we leave our negative 4, still got an A, the B's divided out, so it's 4AC, and then I just close my brackets. Okay, and to multiply that back out, 2AB, add AB times BC gives me AB squared C, good, and then AB times negative 4AC gives me 4A squared BC. Looking at our last example that we've got here, our example 5, which is 6m squared n plus 12mn squared, take 4mnp. So we need to have a look at what is our highest common factor. So what goes into all of them? So as we can see, that we could get 3 that goes into 6, 12 and 9. So I'm going to put my 3. All of them have m. All of them also have n. So that's our highest common factor. Then we need to draw our bracket in. And now we need to divide out our highest common factor out of all of our terms. So 6m squared n divided by 3mn gives me 2m. Oops, I think I'm going to run out of room, so let me just move all of these a little bit. There we go. And then I have 3mn out of 12mn. So 12 divided by 3, I'm a positive here, is 4. M divides out. N squared divided by n leaves me with just n. And then 9 divided by 3 is 3. The m divides out, the n divides out, so that just leaves me with p. And then I close my brackets. Okay. Now I've just realised that I don't have one with any other sorts of indices. So I'm just going to do a 6th example for you. So our final example is 10x cubed y plus 5x squared y squared, take 15x to the 4 y cubed. So as we did before, we need to work out our highest common factor. So we look at our numerals first of all, or our coefficients as they are here. What goes into 10, 5 and 15 is 5. So we write that down. So write down 5. Then we have a look at our pronumerals. And as you can see, we have x3, x2 and x4. So for all of them, I can divide out x squared, so x to the power of 2. So I need to write that at the front here as well. So x squared. Then I need to have a look and see, is there anything else that can be divided out? And all of them I can divide out y, because we have y, y squared and y cubed. So write that in as well. So then that's everything that is a factor of all 3 terms. So I draw in my brackets. Then I need to actually divide out that highest common factor out of all 3 of my terms. So 10 divided by 5 gives me 2. X cubed divided by x squared leaves me with x, and y divided by y leaves me with 1, which I don't write. Then I've got 5x squared, y squared. So I need to divide my original highest common factor out of that. So 5 divided by 5 is positive 1, which we know we don't write, but I do need to put my positive in. X squared divided by x squared is also 1, but y squared divided by y is y. So we can leave that one. Then I have negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. X4 divided by x2 is x2. And y3 divided by y gives me y2 or y squared. That's all done, and close my brackets. So there we have some factorisation with positive factors. Next up, we're going to look at some factorisation with negative factors. Sometimes though, you'll have a negative highest common factor. So what you need to look at is if in your expression, if all the terms are negative, or if most terms are negative, or if you have more negative terms than you have positive terms, then you want to actually say that it's a negative factor. So looking at this first one, we've got negative 5x take 20. So therefore, we can see that both of those terms are negative. So therefore, we want to look at our highest common factor. So what's the highest thing that goes in negative 5x and negative 20 is going to be negative 5. Then we go open bracket. We want to then divide out that highest common factor. So negative 5x divided by negative 5 leaves me with x, and negative 20 divided by negative 5 leaves me with positive 4. And then close brackets. And we can double check that. We can go negative 5 times x gives me negative 5x. Negative 5 times 4 gives me negative 20. So I've checked that and I know that that one is correct. So looking at example 2, we can see that we have negative 8x plus 20y take 4. So we can see that there are more negative terms in there than there are positive. So we're going to have a negative highest common factor as well. So looking at all of them, we can see that what goes into negative 8x and positive 20y and negative 4 is going to be negative 4. So we write that down. So negative 4, there's no pronumerals that are in all terms, so therefore we draw our bracket. And then we divide that negative 4 out of all of our terms. So negative 8x divided by negative 4 gives me 2x. Now, positive 20 divided by negative 4, we should know would have to be negative 5, and then we've got our y, because we know two negatives make a positive when we're multiplying. So negative 4 times negative 5 gives me positive 20y. Then I do negative 4 divided by negative 4 gives me positive 1. Now I'm done, so I close my brackets. We can double check that. I'm going to actually show you my double checking here in this one. So negative 4 times 2x gives me negative 8x. Then I've got negative 4 times negative 5y gives me positive 20y. And then negative 4 times positive 1 gives me negative 4. So as you can see, it's the same as my original equation, negative 8x plus 20y take 4. So therefore I actually know that my factorisation is correct. Now we'll have a look at our last equation, negative x squared take 30x. So having a look at both of those, there is no coefficient for the first term, so we know the coefficient is 1, so there is no numerical factor, but we can see very clearly that x goes into both of them. So because both terms are negative, it's going to be negative x. Then we need to open our bracket, then have a look, divide out our highest common factor. So negative x squared divided by negative x gives me x, and negative 30x divided by negative x gives me positive 30. I've got my two terms, so I need to close my brackets. And again, I'm going to show you this one in double checking. Okay, so negative x times x is negative x squared. Negative x times positive 30 is negative 30x. So we can see that if we actually double check them, we can see quite quickly if we have factorised correctly. Okay, so that's making sure that if you've got more negatives in there, or all negatives, you have a negative factor. So you need to make sure that you show that. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and you'll join us at Miss Burke Rocks. Thank you.